Okay, so I'm in third, fourth, maybe fifth grade, and there's this class, and for this one particular class, we are asked to do an assignment, and it's meant to be a group assignment, and because, well, our teacher understood that if we just wanted, if you let us do that, it would just be a mess. So he decided to, group us. So he picked three kind of captains, not captains, but you understand, group leaders, I guess. He picked three people, and he went by kind of like, you know, by grade value in grade order. And he picked three people, and I would be the fourth person, but unfortunately, it couldn't happen because there were three leaders. So, and all three of them, I knew, we were hanging around. But here's the thing, I always got that feeling that I was like that kind of guy who would be, just around. It was like, yeah, Simon's cool, but whatever. Like, you just like, I don't care if he's not around, really. He's just like, when he's around, I guess it's just like one more person that I can talk with. Which is weird because like I always struck up a lot of conversations and it would just be awkward between them. But whenever there was this kind of thing where it was like, oh, four people is just like a group, it's like one too many person. Oh, like I understand. I understood the thing, and I was just like, I don't really knew why I kept hanging out with them, but I was a kid. So yeah, so all three of them they went picking, for teammates. And all three of them, they picked, and I was like, hey, I'm buddy, like you're gonna pick me, right? I'm like the fourth in class in grade order, and I was fourth in grade order, just yeah, even though I'm very horrible at taking exams. So yeah, I mean, like those guys were stupid. I'm not still upset. You're still upset. Uh, so yeah, I was like, oh, these guys are my buddy. They're gonna be fighting over who's gonna pick me. So the first guy, he picked someone else. I was like, okay, maybe I don't know, maybe like they have this kind of an I don't know, maybe he's worked out a deal with his other buddy because my other buddy really wants me. So the second guy goes and he picks someone else. The third guy goes, he picks someone else. So it's back to the first guy again, and they keep doing that. And I'm like, really, not me? Like seriously, not me? And it's just like I'm a smart kid. Why are these guys not picking me? So we kept on doing that, and about like 5 minutes later, you get to the less smarter people in class, right? And they all get picked, and I'm the last one to be picked. And you would think, as always, it's a bad feeling to be picked last, but well, it could get worse, and I didn't know that. And well, now you will be listening to that. I was picked with like the third guy, I was picked last. And it's not, I wasn't picked last. It's just like, you didn't pick me, you're stuck with me. I'm not going to even say what is it in reference to, you figure it out. I'll probably cave and just put it on screen, I don't know. But yeah, anyways. So the third kid, the third group leader fella, he was this boy, and I mean it was an all boys school, so we're all boys. But he was like a bit too emotional, right? He was a bit soft and stuff. So he began crying. Like he began literally crying his eyes out over the fact that like he got all the bad kids, right? And I just like it I understood his point, right? And throughout the years, I still understand that it was like he was this dude and all, wanted to do all these things, but you're a kid, you're not getting what you want and stuff like that. But there's also has been this persistent side inside me that is like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. It's just like, and it's not that like he gradually got worse until, it came to me. Like he was, holding up pretty well. He was a bit bummed out. But like when they picked, like he had to, side with me. Like he just started crying, and he's just like, this isn't fair and stuff like that. And the weird thing is, like, all the kids, me and the rest of the kids who were supposedly like less bright and not good enough for this guy, who was like just a grade above me in the list, right? Or supposedly not good enough for him. Like you were going to, and it's like it's all right, it's going to be okay. And just like no, they got all the good kids. I got all you guys. I was just like something that is just so weird for me is that at the time I wasn't really offended, and the more I think about it, I don't understand it. It's just like I didn't really understand the situation, or it's just that I was just like we're just all so selfless. It's just like this kid's crying. It's not time for ego. It's not time for being offended. I don't really understand that. It could not have been that I didn't get it, right? I understand how weird the situation was. I understood that like the kid was crying because of all that, and like the more I think about it, I don't really understand it, but that whole story, it just comes to me as very much funny. You know, just the idea that someone would cry because he was picked with me, and I was a cool kid, you know? And I say that because, oftentimes when I say the story, people are like, "Oh, maybe you've been that kind of like loser kid." And it's just like, "No." And it's not that me, it just isn't me remembering those years and thinking I was cool. Like I was actually like one of the cool kids. Not that I was trying. I mean, have you seen me? Do Sudoku puzzles. I mean, of course I'm cool. But yeah, I often go back and think about that memory just like quite often and think about it. It's just like when you think things are worse, like they can't get any worse and things are bad. Like they can always get worse, can they? You think like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. I'm going to be picked last. I'm going to be picked last over the kids that I know I'm better at them, in terms of the grades and studies and stuff like that. And like you do all these things, it's just like I was picked last. And I was just like, oh my god, this is so infuriating. This is so unfair. This is just so embarrassing that this is happening. And suddenly you're forced to go there, and I was still happy. I was like, hey, you're gonna have so much fun. And then he just cracked, just started crying, and I was like, I was lost for words, and I was like, dude, this is not how you treat people. But at the same time, because we were all kids, you know I had this kind of feeling where I could understand the guy, right? I was like, I get it, we're not good enough for you. It's all right. It's cool. It's there's no problem in that. I'm not. I don't have to be good enough for you. And it's not like you would be good enough for me. We're just friends. We're your kids and we're friends. The funny thing is, I carried that guy's group like entirely by myself. Like the kid who, like, upon having to, being stuck with me, he was just put under so much pressure that he just cracked down and started crying out like the guy was turned into a fucking tomato in the middle of the class, crying out loud, just like, this is so unfair. Like I think about that, and it's just like, what would my reaction be? And it's kind of weird because it's like, as a kid, to have this kind of an, I don't know, if it was some kind of a toy that you didn't get, I feel like it would be more like justified. But to behave like that when faced with people, you must have like such an intense idea of people's worths to you that you would do that. I mean, I'm not going to say that guy had some kind of maturity, but like he was thinking in some terms that I wouldn't be doing. Like I wouldn't be thinking if I was up there, I would be bummed out because I was like, oh my God, this is just more work that I have to do, right? Which I did either way. But yeah, I wouldn't be bummed because oh, look at all these people that are beneath me. And I just like I really think this is like worse than being picked last. Like this is being picked last and then being like the guy crying because you had to go with him. Like it's just I can't find a reason. I can't understand like how could this get any worse? And I've been trying to think about it and maybe someone could let me know. And that was it. Yeah.